Let's go. It's Mayro's time. Mayro, selected. Let's go. I'm not done. Mayro Kratt racing. Please me. Mayro Kratt racing. No question, I never doubted it. I never doubted you. Wow. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. No question. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. You cannot beat me. Mayro Kratt racing. I never doubted you. doubt Doki. No question. No question. I never doubted it. No question. I never doubted it. I never doubted it. No question. I never doubted it. I never doubted it. You cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt Racing. No question. No question. You cannot beat me. Remove the zone. You cannot beat me. Mayro Kratt Racing.
Let's go.
Cannot beat me. Mayro Kratt Racing. beat me.
Mayro Kratt racing.
Let's go. No question, I never doubted you. I never doubted you. Let's go. I never doubted you. You cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt racing.
I never doubted you. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. Let's go. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. Let's go. You cannot beat me. Once again, you cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt Racing. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. I never doubted you.
Cannot beat me. Kratt Racing. Beat me.
Mayro Kratt Racing.
cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt racing. I never doubted you. I never doubted you. You cannot beat me.
You have been into the game. You cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt racing.
Mayro Kratt racing.
I never doubted you. 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 You cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt racing.
I never doubted you. 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 You cannot beat me. Mayro Kratt racing. Let's go.
Cannot beat me. limit the game. You cannot beat me.
Mayro Kratt Racing. Mayro Kratt Racing.
Mayro, I am a kid. Princess.